All right. So this afternoon, I'm going to teach you something that I call the impact model. And you just heard from my beautiful friend Cherie about a business model for doing membership-based businesses. And this is more of a, not really necessarily a, it's not a business model, but it is a model for a way to do business in a way that not only impacts your business, but your client's business, and ultimately humanity. So you guys want to hear that? All right. So I know we've talked a lot this weekend about alignment, and we've talked about how the world is changing at such a rapid pace. And if you're actually following any of the studies about the, like how many of you have heard of 2012? Not that 2012 the world is going to blow up, right? Not that, but that things are really shifting. And we're noticing shifts. I mean, how many of you are noticing planetary shifts? Like really, in terms of like, right, I mean, can you imagine the amount of the tornadoes and the hurricane? I mean, does it not just seem like it's like every other month a disaster's happening? And, I don't know about you guys, but weather, where I am, like we just basically started summer in the middle of July. So I figure I'm hoping by, September, October, it's going to get hot. Because it's like 70 degrees in July, where normally it's like 95 here. What we've also noticed is that there are, in fact, this is statistically proven, that there is a major appearance of stunningly gifted children coming into this world in unprecedented numbers. Yeah, they're called indigo children. Yeah. And also, the other thing that's going on is that, have you noticed that healing and those kinds of modalities have become so much more mainstream, right? I mean, think about it even, and I talk about this a little bit later, but think about, Oprah talks about this all the time, or talked about it all the time on her talk show. And people are becoming, as a whole, less religious and so much more spiritual. I couldn't have imagined when I first got into business, going to a business conference and talking about God for 3 days. Not only not me doing that, but me talking about it. I used to not even be able to say the word God. I was a recovering Catholic. No offense, but I was. I mean, I got smacked by the nun just one too many times. That might have something to do with my bossy bee, but I don't know. And we're really moving towards this new paradigm. We talked about the paradigm shift when we talked about the leadership and about the new communities and the new social structures, and really a call for more servant-based leaders. And how do we serve the world in a powerful way? I mean, it's shifting. And here's the thing. It's not just for hippy dippies. This isn't just like a big woo-woo concept anymore. This has gone mainstream. Spiritual, international leaders are seeking out spiritual people in droves. We talked about this a little bit, that, people like Mimi, world leaders are using intuitives and psychics and mediums and other types of people who are in touch with their sixth sense to run their businesses and make major decisions, right? It's very common. And celebrities, celebrities have their psychics or intuitives on retainer. I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but I didn't feel when I was laying on the couch and I was watching The World According to Paris. Okay, and Kathy Hilton, bazillionaire, has a psychic on retainer that she utilizes. So did Nancy, so I just heard from the back, so did Nancy Reagan. This is very common. And, even our national treasure, Oprah, she talks about this all the time. In fact, she did her first webinar she ever did with Eckhart Tolle on the New World. It was amazing. How many of you saw that? Okay. I mean, I've quoted him how many times this weekend? I live and die by that man. I think he's brilliant. He is absolutely a gift to this world. In fact, over 5 million copies of his book have been sold. Okay? What Eckhart says is, and I believe that we're here, is humanity is now faced with a stark choice. We either evolve or die, because if the structures of the human mind remain unchanged, we will always end up recreating the same world, the same evils, and the same dysfunction. Do you guys agree? Okay, it's time for a change. So this is the funniest thing. Well, it's not that funny, but it's funny. Back in 2004, I wrote a book proposal called The Conscious Entrepreneur, The Service Professional's Guide to Turning Passions into Profits. Here it is. I actually went and dug it out and brought you the entire book proposal that was prepared and was submitted to publishing houses all over the country. Denied. No one wanted to hear about it. No one. This isn't going to sell. It's not. It's too woo woo. No one wants to talk about what the hell's a conscious entrepreneur. What does that even mean? And I really felt I was kind of defeated by that. I was like, I thought this was such a brilliant idea. I must be off base. And I filed it. Now, actually, one of my colleagues has since come out and named her book that. So apparently it was meant to be, and it was meant to be hers. It doesn't matter. It's not about mine, hers, whatever. That's not even the point. The point is that I learned a very valuable lesson from this. Because when you truly believe in something, don't give up. I thought the same thing when I saw that Tony Robbins had launched his television show. Did you guys see that? Canceled. The people in the audience are like, I know, I don't get it. I thought it was a brilliant, brilliant television show. The world doesn't get it yet, but they're about to. They're going to get it one way or another. What's the theme of the weekend? Truth or consequences, right? We in this room, because of what we have been exposed to and because of the industry we are in, you have to understand we are a minority. We are a minority. The general mass public has not caught up with this yet. That's why we're having this grand awakening of all of these individuals who are meant to step up and shine their light. How many of you feel called? Really called to make an impact in the world? In some way or another. It doesn't matter what that looks like. Almost everyone raised their hand. I haven't learned yet this famous saying, which is never, never, never give up. I learned also a valuable lesson. Bethany Frankel, you guys know who she is, right? I love Bethany. Isn't she rock? Yeah. I mean, if you guys like me, I'm sure you like her too, because we're very similar in our come from. She just had that Skinny Girl Margarita brand. Do you know how many times that was rejected? Every single major liquor distributor rejected that. Do you know how much she just sold that company for? Over $120 million. Good for her. I hadn't learned that yet. I hadn't learned the never, never give up. I thought it meant, because I thought when I hit that many roadblocks, it just must not be a good idea. 3 feet from gold. And when I was in the midst of this entire transition that you've heard about, a good friend of mine, Nick Nanton, called me and he said, we're doing this book series and we want you to be a leader. We've done a book series with Brian Tracy and Jack Canfield, and We want to use your brand, to bring a book out into the world. And especially because of your information about affluent clients, we thought maybe you would want to write a book on high-end marketing. He goes, but you can write it on anything you want. And I said, oh, I know what I want to write it on. I want to talk about really creating transformation in the world. I want to talk about what's really going on, and I want to use this as a platform to talk to people about becoming more impactful in their business models. And I want to talk about having women leaders step up. Have any of you read my book? Did you, in the chapter? That's all what it was about. She's going, mm-hmm. I mean, that was totally, I downloaded that. I had to reread it to myself afterwards because I just flew on that. I just downloaded all of this stuff that I had been holding in about stepping up, reclaiming your power, becoming a leader, and stepping out into greatness, because now's the time. And even though we may be afraid, we're what the world has. We got to step in there. Like, we can't keep destroying the planet. We can't keep this cycle going. We've got to make a change. And for me, I kind of see myself, there's labels, right? And one of them is like a business entrepreneur. And a business entrepreneur is someone who really does what they do to make money, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The world needs business entrepreneurs, right? Typically, when you think of a business entrepreneur, it doesn't matter what the business is. They invest in things like Richard Branson is very much a business entrepreneur. He doesn't care if it's airplanes or peanuts or music or whatever. When he sees a business model that works and is going to be profitable, he buys the company and he runs it, or he starts the company, or he does whatever. And he's made God knows how much money, right? And then there's this other side of the paradigm, which is like a social entrepreneur. And a social entrepreneur is someone who, a lot of times it looks like a nonprofit. Their main goal is not to create a profit. Their main goal is to create social change in the world. But when you mix those two together, you get what we're calling a conscious entrepreneur, which is someone who believes in a balance of both. They believe in the balance of having a profitable business while you're making a social change, right? So having a profitable business and making a social change. I would absolutely consider myself a conscious entrepreneur. Who else in here would consider themselves a conscious entrepreneur? Okay. So I want to talk about, we've talked a lot about paradigms and the models that we have. So this old paradigm is a win-lose paradigm. The old business paradigm is win-lose. It's about competition, it's about scarcity, it's about hierarchy and management, it's about rules, it's very ego-based, right? It's a very ego-based model. It's based in image and perception, and it's also about profit before people. It is about the bottom line. That's it. The bottom line is, it's about the bottom line. Character-centric, personality-centric. Which one? Personality. The new business paradigm that a lot of people are talking about that we haven't yet quite figured out is really more of a win-win. It's about collaboration, it's about abundance, it's about transformation, it's about leadership and flexibility, and it's about values-based. It's a business that's based in authenticity and truth, and it's about ultimately making a difference in the world. The company wins, the client wins. But I feel like there's another way. And there's a couple different things. It was really interesting. Like, I downloaded this idea, like kind of in the middle of the night, like you wake up and all of a sudden I had this idea out of nowhere and I just had to write it down. And I couldn't figure out where it came from, but here's what it had come from. I had actually seen, who's seen that movie, Pay It Forward? Isn't that the greatest movie? Okay, this movie keeps coming across me. Like every time I turn around, it's on the TV. My husband taped it. I was in the store shopping, and it happened to be sitting on the end of the aisle. It was like the weirdest thing. And basically what the pay it forward model means is that that when you have someone who does something nice. So let's say Steve needed some help. I'm going to go and help Steve. And all I'm going to ask is that he then do a favor for 3 other people. And then Steve does a favor for 3 other people, and he says to each of those 3 people, all I want you to do is do a favor for, so like there's Steve, do a favor for 3 people. Then he asks the 3 people, and it spreads like wildfire. That's a pay it forward. That's a pay it forward model. But I was also inspired by the media, because a lot of what has been being talked about in the media, in magazines, it's hitting mainstream, it's hitting Oprah, it's hitting Good Morning America. In The Economist, there was an article, and I'll read this to you for those of you who are in the back. To survive and prosper in the 21st century, business will need to develop a new business paradigm, one that embraces a global common good rather than an individual self-interest. A paradigm based on vision-guided, values-driven leadership that targets not only the business success of the company, but also the well-being of all stakeholders, employees, customers, investors, partners, society, and the environment. Nothing less than the full spectrum of sustainability. And that's what the impact paradigm is. The impact paradigm is a win-win-win paradigm. Your clients win, your charity wins, and your business wins. And one of the things I started doing with my clients who are in this industry is we started creating something other than just profitability goals. There's a lot of marketing, there's a lot of strategic marketing reasons to do this model. I mean, I could go on with that all day long. How do you respond to a company when you see it donating to a charity? Right? Yeah. Right. It's like it's doing good for the world, right? It's like, and you get to be a piece of that. What if someone comes to you and they say it's for charity? Let me tell you, let me give you an example of one of the ways that I've seen this actually physically play out in real world. You know, I think I've mentioned my kids love to do lemonade stands. They're very entrepreneurial. And they actually did a lemonade stand about a week and a half ago. And they were so excited because they came in with like $6. Which when you're selling something at a quarter, that's a pretty good turnover, right? Especially where I live, because I live like in a very highly residential neighborhood where the houses are kind of spread out. 2 summers ago, we did a lemonade stand, and we did it for charity because I wanted to teach them a very valuable lesson. I wanted to teach them about going and being of service above and beyond than for being service to our own family. So we walked them through this entire business venture, you know, the 3-hour business venture before dinner, because then they were cranky and hungry, right? But what we did was we created a lemonade stand, and I talked to them about how there's a lot of people and a lot of charities out there that need help, and that they do tireless amounts of work for people to make the world a better place. And I wanted them to pick a charity, and so I kind of helped them. I kind of guided them, but I let them pick it themselves, and I said, do you want to do a charity that helps children, or do you want to do a charity that helps women, or do you want to do a charity that helps the environment, or do you want to donate to a charity that helps doggies? Well, they're my kids, so they pick dogs, right? So then we started researching online and looking at different charities that helped animals, and we found a charity that supported. It was really horrifying, actually. It was a charity that supported, a lot of people tie their dogs up in the yard, and they don't ever bring them inside. It's clearly not the experience my dogs are having because they sleep in the king-size bed that we bought just so they could fit in it. But a lot of times what happens is their chain gets embedded in their neck. Yeah, I don't mean to gross you out, but it's a reality. And so we decided to do some charity work and donate to that so that we could, you know, free, because what they do is they go out and they find these dogs that are tied up like this and they save them, they rescue them, and then they get the medical treatment and then they rehabilitate them and replace them in homes. But this is obviously, as you can imagine, not a small endeavor. So what we did was we had the children do a lemonade stand, and we wrote, first of all, you know, and I got to teach them business stuff, location, location, location. Like, we've got to be on a busy street corner where cars can pull over. And so we did. We didn't even go near our house. We actually went down to our downtown area, and we put up all these signs for charity. And the kids made a lot of money, like over $100, because people would come by, and they would just, here's 20 bucks. And then what I told them was, we will match you anything that you raise. And then I really let them, we put the money in the envelope, like actually I took the cash, and then we wrote a check out, and they helped me write the envelope, and I said, you just helped all those doggies. Because I think that that's something that we as a culture need to really instill in our children. So when I'm working with my entrepreneurs, I want to understand the kind of impact that they want to have on the world. And if you've looked at the missions for any of my businesses, I'm absolutely talking about profitability goals. This is still a business. But I'm also talking about the number of people that I want to impact. So this is the paradigm that I downloaded. And this is what impact stands for. Now, a lot of this you've already heard. The piece that you haven't heard is the piece that I'm really going to teach you today, which is take action to pay it forward, and I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. So this is, Erin, when did I've had this for like a year, right? I mean, didn't we work on it? Yeah, I've had this for about a year. I just didn't really know what to do with it until, because I hadn't fully, I channeled it before I stepped into the direction I was going. Does that make sense? So I had this thing, and I'm like, well, what the hell do I do with this? But this is what it stands for. In sync, get into alignment. So to really make a huge impact, you need to get in sync and really come from alignment. We've talked ad nauseum about being clear and coming from a place of alignment. Make a decision. Make a commitment to your journey from a powerfully aligned place. What is the impact you want to have? How do you want to serve the world? You've got to step into your leadership, right? You've got to step into that place of being a leader. To really make a widespread impact, you need to be able to reach the masses and do it really effectively, which means you've got to step up into that leadership role. You've got to. Arrive, design, develop, and launch a powerful brand platform to serve from. Who here knows what a brand platform is? Well, Aaron. All right, Julia.
Well, it's a place from which you stand, i.e. a platform, to share your message, your brand message.
Yeah, it's a place from which you stand with your brand platform to share a message. What was Oprah's platform? TV show, right? If you did a membership-based model, what would be your platform? Being the leader of the membership program. Write books. Speak. Media. You know, there's a lot of different ways to build your collective platform. But the point is that you need to be able to share your message. So you've got to design a model that allows you to get out in front of people. It's really, really important. Creating a profitable business model that serves your clients, your business, and the world. Which is part of what I'm going to talk to you about in this Take Action to Pay It Forward. And as you are building your business, build into that a methodology to give back from the get-go. Okay, so I want to show you one of the ways in which I'm doing this. So I talked to you about how I'm launching the Women's Leadership Academy. So let me use this example for this. So we want to build a list, right? How many of you in your business want to build a list? I told you I was going to teach you a list building strategy. Okay, this is a, in my opinion, phenomenal list building strategy. Well, you get out and you start doing some marketing. You can, I mean, name it, JVs, article marketing, speaking on stages, public relations, all the different things that you do to your market, right? And where do we drive people when we're marketing? Where did our last speaker, Sheree McConnell, drive you? To her website to grab her offers, right? That's the exact strategy we teach, the compel strategy. Drive them to the website, get the free offer. Here's the difference, and this is where the pay it forward comes in, and this is where the model changes. I'm going to be putting up on my website when I launch the Women's Leadership Academy, because this is part of my social entrepreneurship, I am committed to helping more women leaders step up. Yes, I will still, this is a much more leveraged business model than I will have ever done before, because I want to help over 1 million women stand and find their voice. I can't do that serving one-on-one clients. So all of you who just signed up for the Diamond Experience, you may just have been one of the last group of private clients that I take for a while. Because what I want to do is, I want to see this model get out in the world. I want to work on it, and I need some space to do that. I'm working with the private clients, and when I go to launch the Women's Leadership Academy, it's going to be much more leveraged, because I need to reach more of the world so that I can help more women stand in their power and unite their voice. So what I'm going to be doing is, I am going to be giving away a very juicy information product for free. Something that normally someone would charge probably $1,500 for, not say it's valued at $1,500, but literally something that would be $1,500 of value, like give them the system. Now you might say to yourself, that's crazy, why would you do that? Because remember, my entire goal is not just, I'm a conscious entrepreneur, it's not just about being a profitable. If I was only about business, this would not be a smart strategy. But I'm interested in more than that. So what I'm going to do is, when they go to check out on this product, I'm not going to ask them for any money. Instead, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask them to make a donation to my charity, The Cycle Ends Here. And I'm going to let them donate the amount that feels right to them. That might be $5, that might be $500, that might be $5,000. I'm going to have them do that. I'm going to ask them to donate to this charity and explain why it is. And then I'm going to ask them to do something else. Then I'm going to ask them to pay it forward and refer 2 friends to the product. If you want to help see more women stand as leaders, if you want to help more women find their voice, please refer this to it, please refer this to at least a few friends. What does that create? Viral. Thank you. It creates viral marketing. Okay? Then I will still be, now what's happening to my list as this is happening? Right? Am I happy? Totally. Absolutely, because what's going to happen on the back end of this? My systems are going to kick in. My Infusionsoft is going to start doing a drip marketing campaign to help them step into other work with me. if that's what they want to do, or opt out. My systemized marketing campaigns are going to start bringing people up through our marketing funnel. My list is built, and regardless of what goes on, say there's some women who are not ready or can't afford or whatever's going on with them, they still have access to this information. So I have a happy charity who's getting a systemized donation. I have a happy business because my list is growing and mushrooming on itself. And I have happy clients and prospects who just got like this juicy information kit that's going to help them step into their power and stand up. And here's why I did this for me. And we've talked about this, but especially for people who might be watching this and they're only watching this one, you know, it's so funny. Sheree just talked about her big why. Well, here. So again, I told you we were synergistic. I subscribe to the same thing. You guys know my story. I want to help more women step up, and I can't do it alone. I need to help have the word spread so that I can be of service to them. But you've got to know who you are, and you've got to stand in your brilliance and find your true voice. You've got to speak your truth so that you can transform the world. And my brand, right, is all about inspiring millions of women to find their voice. So with the Kelly O'Neill brand, because I just want to show you how this is going to play out in the reality of what it looks like in marketing land, right? So Kelly O'Neill International is about empowering aspiring women leaders and conscious entrepreneurs to find their voice and design profitable businesses that make a difference. We do that a lot through our Ignite program. We also have our Women's Leadership Academy. And the Women's Leadership Academy's mission is to become the leading global coaching and training community for women leaders by providing innovative and accessible programs that unite 1 million women to find their true voice, share it unabashedly, and positively impact both their bottom line and their world. So do you see how this entire brand is working together? Now here's the piece that I've never shown before, because in the background I have been working with Sela and my team of people. So Sela, wave hi. I have been working on something because I want to do more. As if what I wasn't doing was already not enough, but I still want to do more. And I came up with this idea, well, I didn't come up with it. I allowed it to come, of a charity, a nonprofit organization that I'm calling The Cycle Ends Here. So you heard my story, and you also heard me talk about how it was really, it's cyclical. Emotional and psychological abuse is cyclical. And this is really the flip side of the exact same coin for me. Does that make sense? I'm helping women find their voices through stepping up as leaders, and I'm helping women who, they don't even care if they're in business. I'm helping women who have lost their voice or had their voice stifled just find their voice so that they can live their best life. It's the same mission expressed in two different ways. So the goal of The Cycle Ends Here is to have 1 million women take the pledge to end the cycle of abuse and create a community of women who are dedicated to healing themselves and supporting other women in their healing. Because what I found out was, when I was doing all of my research, is that there's a lot of charities out there for sexual abuse and physical abuse, a lot. And thank goodness, because we need it. But there is very little information out there about psychological abuse. And I can tell you that I've had all kinds of abuse occur to me, and for me, being hit or being raped is not as traumatic as having someone tell you for years and years that you're worthless, because that just chips away at your soul. And so this is my stand and taking a step in the direction of creating a movement of women who want to stand up and say enough and stop this and end the cycle. The only way to end the cycle is to heal yourself. Now, I don't want to provide those healing services because that's not really what it is. My gift and my genius is in innovating and creating movements. So I want to create a worldwide movement of women standing up and taking a pledge that not only are they going to take the stand for themselves and say that's it, but that they're also going to then help other women as we bond together in a community to stand in this place of power to say, I am worthy and I am lovable and I do deserve more. And that is what my charity is about. And so by putting this into the cycle, again, here it is just poised in a different way. So marketing to promote the impact product offer. They sign up to receive the $1,500 info product and a brand impact evaluation. That's for the leadership. They request to donate to the Cycle Ends Here. They receive the product electronically so that there's no cost to me, right? So that all of the money stays in the pocket of the charity. And then they pay it forward, so they, please refer our friends. And then we market to them because obviously we know that they're interested in leadership. Pretty simple, right? Why isn't anyone doing this? So that is the impact model. And what I would love to do now is show you the video, awesome, to show you the video that we created. You guys want to see the video we created for the Cycle Ends Here? So this has never been shown before. I'm very proud of it. In fact, Sela hasn't even seen it. So I'm really excited to show her because this is something that we've been working on for a while. And this charity is not yet publicly launched, but I think there's, I've told people that I've been working on it. We're getting, we've reserved the name. We have, I can't even believe that the website was available. I mean, the Cycle Ends Here. Why wasn't that? I mean, it was clearly meant for me. I can't believe that it wasn't taken before. So guys, here's the thing. I want to be honest about this. I have no clue what I'm doing. I am totally modeling, stepping into doing something without absolutely knowing nothing about the how. I had a vision to create a movement. I have a vision to help women. And I have aligned with amazing people like Sela who have really been helpful and instrumental in, she is walking me through this process. I have no idea what I'm doing. Nonprofit business law and legality and how you file the 505c3, that thing. I know how to market it. I have a killer video ready, but I don't know anything about that. And so I've really gotten a lot of help from people who really care about this project. So I'll let her maybe answer that the best that she can. So what's... There you go.
Yeah, I wanted to know, let's say, for example, I wanted to use the VA. How would I go about approaching them? Where do I even start? Because I know that you have to be affiliated with them, they have to accept you, that kind of thing.
Well, you just answered your own question. You have to go to the top and talk to the executive director, usually you would make a presentation to their board to present and to propose this joint venture, or that you would have a connection and affiliation with them, and you would have to be approved by them. And to be able to use their logo, to be able to connect with them. It's a win. It's amazing. It's a win-win for the nonprofit, frankly, and for the business. But I will tell you, the nonprofit sector is a very interesting sector. I've been in it now for over 10, 15 years, and as executive director for several different nonprofits. And there are some they do great things. Nonprofit sector does amazing things, but there's a lot of dysfunction in the nonprofit sector. And there's a lot of, I hate to say this, but there's a lot of limited thinking. The nonprofit sector, they're always looking for money, and there's never enough money. And, you know, as I was sitting here, you know, with a lot of the different presentations that people made today and yesterday, I kept thinking, you know, if only the people in the nonprofit sector brought these things and these concepts into raising money.
I think there might be someone who might be made to do that. Just saying.
You know, there's no...
Look, she just totally ignored me. But that's right, I'm coming. I'm not going to forget, so I'll come back around.
I heard it. So there's just...
She's just ignoring me.
So, I mean, there's just... it would change the way nonprofits work. And so, I mean, this is a fabulous model. And, but I have to say that just like Kelly said, here there was this nonprofit that she went with Kiva, right?
Kiva.
You said. So Kiva, and had this offer.
There's going to be all these beeps on the film.
Sorry. Here this nonprofit has this offer, you know, to have all these donations come to them, and they can't handle it. I mean, you know, to think about that. If I was that,
I was shocked.
If I was them, I mean, I would make it happen. I mean, you know, whatever.
They could not. We had 5 people on the phone. They could not figure it out. We had like 8 meetings.
I mean, you would.
They're like, we don't know how. I'm like, are you really? Because I had made a commitment to raise $1 million for them, and they're like, we can't figure out how to get it done. I'm like, okay, well then next. But it was obviously meant. It was meant to be though.
But
because I wouldn't have ever probably. It was obviously meant to be, but
it's typical. That's typical. So, yeah.
So, any other questions?
It's not that difficult. It takes time, and there are steps that you have to go through. And each state has different laws, so it depends on your state.
Julia?
I was curious about tracking. This might be a public question, but how do you know that your people are donating? Would you maybe set up a special page?
I'll set up an affiliate link to see, or a tracker link to see how it's tracking, and yeah.
And then if you were...
That's so again, but that's also a technology question. So I will go, here's how I will do this. Because remember, I'm a leader, not a how person. I will go to whoever sets up my webpage and say, this is what needs to happen, figure it out.
And then if they were a smart nonprofit, they would also have a way that, so when they enter those donations into the database, it's coded that it came from Kelly O'Neill. So there's that connection as well.
And then there's a whole different model on the nonprofit end that we're looking at to then get them on a reoccurring membership, like, hey, how would you like to help these women? Do you want to donate $10, $25, $50, $100 a month?
Well, and that actually, when I was listening to Cherie, I was thinking some of the stuff that she was talking about actually fits into that.
Mm. So we're...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of applications.
Okay, great.
There's a lot of applications, absolutely.
Great. And I don't want to, the only one that is going to be a nonprofit is a Cycle Ends Here. But is this helpful? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. All right, let's see the video, and then we will not make this person wait any longer to find out who they are. This is also a very different, look at the different style of this video. This is all Corey, all genius, and trust me, there was a lot of faith that went into this because he asked me to basically take off my makeup, and I was like, okay. The experience I had of growing up was one where I pretty consistently felt unsafe. Things at home were not really all that great. My mom was an alcoholic and my parents fought a lot, and I grew up always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And for me, I remember when I was about 20 years old, I was dating an individual and I was incredibly abusive to him. And it terrified me because I always thought the people who abused me were such monsters, and then I turned into the monster. And it was really at that point where I really worked on myself so that I could eliminate these patterns from my life, because I never wanted to ever treat someone the way that I was treated. When someone hits you, you know, that may sting, but there is nothing worse than being told for years of your life that you're worthless or unlovable or stupid or fat. Those are the types of things that just eat away at your soul. Psychological abuse is a learned behavior. It's a pattern. Babies don't come out of the womb hurtful, critical, angry people. They're raised that way. As a result, when you grow up that way, you then repeat the cycle, and you do the exact same thing to those people around you. So ending the cycle is all about you finding the healing for yourself and finding the awareness and becoming conscious to it, so that not only you can heal those wounds inside yourself, but you also don't ever inflict them upon someone else. The purpose of the Cycle Ends Here movement is to raise awareness about exactly what psychological abuse is, and to provide women with the inspiration and the courage to stand in their power and to say enough and find their voice and stop it, and then get the healing that they need so that they don't become a victim of it forever. And they can then turn and help other women overcome it as well. If every woman who had suffered this type of abuse stood up and got the help that they needed so that they could heal the wounds inside and stand in a place of power and say, that's enough. And then we all turned and helped 2 other women. Imagine what would happen in this world. You are lovable, you are worth something, and you deserve to live the life that you've always imagined. Go to our website, sign the pledge, stop the cycle, because the cycle ends here.